Let's see, how many drivers do we have? Alright, Q1 is underway. 15 minutes on the clock. I don't know how many drivers we have, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have a Q2 this time. Should be very nice. 15 minutes Q1. If there's a Q2, it'll be 5 minutes with only the top 5 drivers. As we wait for the drivers to do their outlaps. 8 drivers on track so far. And 2 more joining as well. Hayes is the first to complete his outlap, it looks like. And we'll go on board with him. Lagging like crazy. Reflex will not be racing this one. Reflex P1 championship will leaves him open to Hayes taking his spot P1. That is, of course, if Hayes does not bottom. Home race for Hayes. And he's come very close to getting that result too before, but he's not always managed to convert. See what his first effort is. And Hayes does a 1:16.4. A fast sector 1 and sector 2. Salty puts in a 1:18.9, Gabriel 1:19.8, HDWY now 1:18.2 is the first fellow hot laps coming in, and nobody's even really close to Hayes in these first laps. Closest is HDWY 1:18.2, which is nearly 2 seconds off of Hayes. Instruments invalidated. Pasco's beginning his lap. Go on forward with the McLaren of Pasco. Who has also, I know, many memorable Baku races in his career. And Rivals puts it into P2, and he gets a 1:16.9, still around 5 tenths off the pace, but certainly a good first effort. This is going back out. He had an improvement from the second to 3, but where he was going outlet. Hayes, no improvement in the sector 1. Salty does fastest sector 3 on an outlap, I believe. We'll go on board with him now in the AlphaTauri. This is his first race in PL22, I believe. And he has to lift off and may have grazed the wall there as well. Gabriel puts in a 1:17.6, the first to get into the 17s. Obviously we have Hayes and Rivals, who started off with 16s. And Salty does a 1:18.3. Puts him in the Brenner Rapp, the new Ferrari driver, is currently in 6th, but with a 1:18.5. Improvement in the first sector for Brenner Rapp. Hayes has not been able to improve his time yet, but he will be starting another lap soon. Brenner Rapp having to do with a little bit of traffic here. And Brenner Rapp bails out. Rivals currently has done all improvement in Sector 1. In fact, it looks like that's a outlap Sector 1. But he's gotten past the Sector 2 as he now will begin his lap. See if he can beat Hayes. Hayes on the no improvement Sector 1 as well. The Rival's taking very good lines so far. Rivals improvement in the Sector 1, another best Sector 2, all down to the Sector 3 now. Where can he put himself? 5 minutes left on the qualies, still plenty of time. Can he jump Hayes for P1? And Rivals comes across the line. He does a 1:16.590 despite such a great Sector 2. He was not able to improve in the Sector 3, and he's not able to beat Hayes' first time. Gabriel in third, now beginning his lap, looking to get into the 16s and secure his spot. Interestingly enough, we've seen a lot of people not improving very much in their first few laps. Gabriel improving in the Sector 1. Hayes with the fastest Sector 1 now. We'll go on board with him after Gabriel finishes his lap. And there's a cart going back. Does a 16.3. Unfortunately, I haven't found who it was going. It looked like one of the Hasses. That's Sector 1. And a no improvement Sector 1. Salty for that Sector 1. Hayes no improvement Sector 1. Rivals invalid Sector 1s and 2. course, see what people like Gabriel are doing. He's P3. Renorak trying to haul himself out of 7th, and he puts in a 1:17.7 to put himself into P4. Lap as time gets down. Rivals is finishing his lap. Rivals, no improvement in Sector 1, but the fastest Sector 2. Can he get P1? Salty will not be able to get a lap in. Gabriel is P3. Norson crosses the line, no improvement. Pasco will cross the line soon. And Pasco. Rain is forecasted to start sometime between like 15 are up. And it's lights out and away we go. Sonny looks like gets a good start. Rivals also gets a good start. They're ahead of the Ferrari and Renerac. Interesting. And Hayes, Salty gets this spot to sector 1, but Hayes, it looks like, has a decent gap out front. Hard to tell, he's lacking quite a bit. On the leaderboard, he has a 10th lead over Rivals, and Rivals had nearly a second to Mr. Man in P3, who has jumped Renerac. Gap coming down the straight now is 7/10 between Hayes and Rivals as that rear wing opens. We'll turn off DRS for the first lap. Rivals with the fastest lap now. Rivals all purple sectors. Although that's just our leaderboard not quite updating properly. Hayes invalidated his middle sector. Gap is still 6/10. Rivals does the fastest sector 1, and he gets a little wild on those curves, but he's very close now to Hayes. Anything in Power Hayes' corners, but it looks like it's very close between them as Rivals takes the lead by 2/10. Gabriel does the fastest sector 2, and the Hasses are 2 seconds ahead of everybody else in the first lap, the first 2 laps. But they're fighting with one another now down the lead straight. Neither will have DRS, I think. Hayes' fastest lap, he gets it closer within 900. He may have gotten back ahead by the first turn. And Hayes does repass Rivals. Something's happened with Rivals. I think he may have hit the wall a little bit. He's given up a huge deficit to Hayes. Hayes is the fastest sector 2, it's a 37. And that's a 1.7 seconds to Rivals in a single lap. Hayes' sector 2 is a 30.7, Rivals is a 32.4. Gabriel still holds the fastest lap. Not anymore, Hayes comes across the line with a 1:18.4. Start looking at the strategies. And by the way, the Hasses are now 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Hayes is off the medium tire at the side of the race. Gabriel on the medium. Gabriel and Renerac are fighting. Both of them on the medium. Gabriel hits the wall. No damage though, it seems. But he does give that position to Renerac. And Mr. Man spins. And he's backwards, and that will drop him many positions. Took a while to get back going here. Pasco, mediums. Salty, mediums. HPWY, mediums. Altus, also medium. And Norsen, medium. So everybody has chosen medium. No tire differences. Even the rain comes. He's up front now by 2.7 seconds as he crosses 5 laps. And Mr. Man says that he quits the lead. He's still running. He's running in the last place, however, although he overtakes Altus now. Closed up the gap a little bit. Levels with a significantly faster 62 to Hayes, and Hayes is in sight, just here around the corners 2 seconds ahead. As we look at the battle between Bremerach and Gabriel, and Bremerach hits, I believe he has lost his front wing. Hits for the softs, behind him Salty, who has not lost his front wing. Hits also for the softs. Interesting. I'm not sure why Salty would do that. See. Works out for him. And here he is, front wings on the track, as there always is. And Rivals overtakes Hayes. And we missed something at the front. The gap was 2 seconds, and now it is nothing. Hayes does not seem to have damage, but he must have had some kind of a moment. And Salty's in the wall. Wow. He's in the wall right after the castle section. That means our first DNF. Missing this battle out front. Rivals still leads. Hayes is very close behind him though. Hayes so far it seems has had the best pace. He's able to disappear down the road. We'll see if he can do it again. But Rivals does the fastest sector 2, and just like that, Hayes is half a second behind him. Hayes will get the DRS into turn 1. Hayes has made up some ground. Supposed to be 3/10 now, and they're 10 seconds ahead of the field. And Rivals has been very strong in Sector 2. That's another fastest Sector 2 now on lap 8 on old tires, old-ish tires. And Hayes is fallen outside of a second to him, but it looks like he's gotten some of that back. Rivals does the fastest lap. Hayes manages to stay in DRS. Gap up to 0.8 though now. Hayes with DRS again. Very powerful in Baku. And it's very close between the Hasses again, as the Rivals just cannot drop Hayes. And it's down to 1/10 between them. And closer to 2/10. Pasco's up into P4. He is running a very good race now. Up into P4, started P9. He's already made up 5 places. Just outside of a podium. And the DRS will open for Hayes again. And the gap is back up to 1 second. Look at the lap times. Hayes did his best Sector 1 last lap. And he got very close to Rivals through the lap, but then it all fell away in the Sectors 2 and 3. Hayes again faster in the Sector 1 now, this lap. And he's got it down to 7/10. The key for Rivals here is going to be getting it outside of that 1 second. I think he doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. Looks like Hayes is very close. And Hayes drifting around that corner a little bit. Hayes is seeing way more of the track. He's all on the curve. That is 3/10. He'll get DRS again. He won't even get DRS. He's too close. Rivals lap that time was a 1:19.3. Hayes with a 1:18.5. Mr. Man has also retired the car now. And Hayes is past Rivals as the battle out front continues. And I think that's Brenneref passes 7+8. Brenneref on the soft, changing his front wing. And Rivals is back past Hayes now. Hayes giving up a pretty good gap there with a mistake. But again, they are just gapping the rest of the field. The gap between Gabriel and Pasco has stayed pretty steady at around 3 seconds, but that continues to rise to Hayes and Rivals at 17 seconds. And Norson does not have a front wing. HDWY does not have a front wing, but Norson still gets that DRS. And Norson's chasing down HDWY. No, he hits the wall there. going in a little too hot for not having a front wing. That is the tough decision. Do you pit and lose a load of time? You try and stay out on a very tight track without front wing. And Mercer hits the wall there as well. And this is just miserable. On the soft and with a front wing will be catching motion very soon. Although he's also having trouble on the curves though. And the gap to Hayes is now 3 seconds, or the gap from rivals to Hayes is now 3 seconds. This time Hayes has not been able to come back. Enough that was within that 1 second range. And Gabriel has pulled out a little time to pass her. A little more breathing now. HDWI is still now for castle section. And Brenneraf now can see Notion going around every corner. And you can see that gap coming down. He's very close now. Does get the rear wing opened down the street, and Norson again without his front wing hits the wall. Runner-up is by, will be hunting down HDWI also without a front wing next, and that was a good choice by Brenneref to pit early, get on those tires, and be able to go and chase down the rest of the pack who've decided not to pit when they broke their front wing. But I will say he might start regretting that tire choice. I don't remember exactly what lap he pitted. I think it was lap 8. Degradation isn't incredibly high, but the soft can only last so long in this game. And we have 3 DNFs. We have 3 DNFs. A 7+8 is out now as well, it looks like. One more DNF, and it will be a red flag, which will change up quite a lot of things. As Rivals is about to lap Altus. And Altus dives into the pits. Hayes still staying steady around 3 seconds behind Rifles. He's not going to bring that back down. Let's see what Altus has decided to do here. He has gone for the salt. And we are now in the rain window. And it has not come yet. Yep, I'm aware, Pascal. As I said, it'll come between lap 15 and lap 25. But you guys won't know when exactly it's gonna come. And it will go to the end of the race, by the way, if I wasn't clear on that. And Larson in the Mercedes throws out his front wing is seen sliding away. What is this? Yep. It is HDWY. It seems to be having some difficulty. Let's see exactly what's going on. HWY is shuffled down now to 7th. Pascal Morrison. Runner up to 5th. He's a ways from Pasco. And Gabriel has extended the gap to Pasco as well. Gabriel lapping now fairly close to the base of the leaders. Not getting gapped by them as much as the start. And Hayes is just starting to fall away just a little bit more. Those mediums will be absolutely screaming now at lap 17, I'm sure. And Rivals, he goes deep and he hits the wall. He has lost his front wing. Goes over the curb there as well, and that is a golden opportunity for Hayes. Pasco, are you not listening to me? Rivals will be hoping for a red flag so he can repair that damage. And he'll also be hoping for a mistake from Sonny on these old tires. As they'll both have to hit the medium. Oh, and there's the mistake from Sonny! He goes deep as well and he loses his front wing. And they're back on equal terms. They both have to push their tires to lap 21. Gabriel, the Mercedes still going strong, no damage to repair. Pasco, no damage. Runner-up is already pitted and repaired. Norson will need to repair his front wing. HWI will need to repair his front wing. Altus has no damage either. As they cross the line for lap 20. Just one lap to go before rain begins. And the rain is beginning now. Hayes gets past rivals. HTWI is in the pits. Hayes goes past the pits, interestingly enough. Choosing to not pit yet. Rivals also goes past the pits. Maybe it's not coming up very quick. I hope it is coming up. We will stay out faster. WI is stuck in the pits. Pasco pits, and Pasco lost his front wing, and we have a Ferrari. That's Runner-Up, I believe. He spins in the pit entry. Hayes now coming around the lap. Old tires, wet conditions, and he's got 4 seconds to rivals now. And our race leader, Hayes, comes into the pits. He will have to repair his front wings, so will Rivals. Hayes doesn't get stuck in the pits, thankfully for him. Rivals also not get stuck in the pits, both of them get their front wings. So they will be very thankful for, I'm sure. And it's 8 laps till the end in 40% rain. And Rivals slides around the corner. And Gabriel, because I think he didn't have damage to repair, he's gotten closer to the top 2 in that pit stop time. Unfortunately, Pasco has lost some time as he had lost his front wing. Have to repair that. But Pasco will be feeling good because he's got a large gap behind him. HCWI had to respawn the car. He was over, but he is still in the race. And Hayes is a little bit of a brush with the wall, comes away with no damage. Go on board with the rivals now. Chase down Hayes to the lead. He's not going to get the gap down very much so far. Seems Hayes has also had some sort of an issue. The gap, straight right was hitting the wall, he's come down. No damage on Hayes either though. Gabriel is still going strong. Pascal still going strong. Brenner Mercy, no damage yet. Aldous, no damage yet. HCWI is still big. So of our remaining drivers versus this far, managing to keep it clean so far. 6 laps to go. That's 5, 2. Yes, has lost his front wing. And Rivals has gotten the gap down. It was 4.1 seconds. Now it's 3.0. And Norson is in the runoff a little bit. He's still going. And just by surviving the race, we managed to get a pretty decent point score. The gap continues to build between Hayes and Rivals and the rest of the field. And the gap is coming down. Rivals now 2.8 seconds to Hayes. As the Mercedes in the background of that battle spins, that would be Norson again, who has been all over the road, let's just say. And he has just been lapped. Second time he's been lapped. And the gap's back up to 4. Rivals, it seems, cannot just string together long enough time without mistakes to get that gap truly close. Coming down again. I'm sure Hayes is not wanting to take too many risks. For rivals, there's not a lot to lose to push. He's got plenty of gap behind him. And if Hayes manages to finish the race and manages to stay ahead of rivals, which is the way it's looking right now, as he still maintains a 3.5 second gap with 2 laps to go, and rivals hit the wall a little bit. This would be, I believe, the first home win for Hayes, the best result ever for him in Baku. I think, as far as I'm aware, the next best result we've gotten was this season of PFC, where I managed to take the win. Rivals right behind me and Hayes in third. Hayes had a very good shot at the win that day as well. I believe he just made a mistake. But no mistakes in this stint so far, as it's now lap 29 of 30, and he's still got a gap and he's still going strong. But it's still fine. The gap is 2.9. It's within that 3-second mark. And Hayes has a little bit of slidiness coming on to the straight. The gap's at 2. He has 2 seconds to lose as HTW Widely, that is, gets lapped again. Let's see what the gap is across the line. 1.5 seconds. Final lap. I won't announce it because I've been annoyed when I've done that before. And Hayes spins. He hits the curb wrong. Oh, heartbreak for Hayes. Rivals goes through. It was so close for Hayes, but he loses it on the final lap. His rivals comes across the final sector now. Comes down the main straight, across the line, and Rivals wins the Baku Grand Prix. Hayes will be second, and that is heartbreak for Hayes at his home Grand Prix. Gabriel in the final sector now will be a distant P3. Pasco and McLaren crosses the line. 8 seconds back. And has lost his front wing, but he'll be here soon to claim his P5. Hayes, come on, you messed up the leaderboard. Hey, what are you doing? Yeesh. And nobody knows. Alrighty. see you guys next week.
Graphics are gonna be a little